Why do I miss out so many good books this year? Is there any criteria to get nominated? And I haven't really heard about this story before, but now I really want to read it. I wouldn't say I hate it, but I wouldn't say I like it. Everything is just like meh. Hi guys, this is Stan. Welcome back to my channel. You know it is the time of the year. Goodreads Choice Award has just started. As a booktuber, it is my duty to review this list of books that got nominated together with you guys. If you can't tell the name of this channel, Fantasy, I mainly read fantasy. So we will go through all the fantasy nominees together. So the purpose of this video would be about me reviewing those that I have read and see did I miss some interesting fantasy books that released in 2024 or see did Goodreads miss some good books that I have read. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to my channel Fantasy so you won't miss any fun bookish video from me. Why not also share your thoughts about this year's nominees? Is there any of your favorites or do you agree with me? Goodreads missed out some good books. The first one I have is Somewhere Beyond the Sea by T.J. Klune. I honestly haven't read any book by this author, but every time when I go into Waterstones, I can definitely very easily find some books by him. You know, all those books about wolf and got wolves on it. Then I look up on Goodreads, quite a lot of work by him got quite good, decent rating. Nearly every single book by him got over 4 stars, which I think is quite impressive. Now back to this nominee, Somewhere Beyond the Sea. It is a sequel to The House in the Caroline Sea. Obviously, I haven't read it yet. I think what's so special about T.J. Klune is that his books are always good at character work and also the exploration of sexuality. I think this series is leaning to the cozy side. I'm not a super massive fan of cozy fantasy, so I don't think I am in a good position to judge this book, and also it is a sequel and I haven't read them yet, so I guess we should just pass it. The next one I have is The Dead Cat Tail Assassins by P. Digley Clark. This one is a bit special because it is a novella, not a novel, and this is a It is a brand new introduction of a new city, new world, which is about a cold-blooded assassin confronting her past. Once again, I haven't read anything by this author yet. Just by looking at the reviews on Goodreads, I think this one is going to be entertaining, with some sort of mystery element when this assassin tried to find out what had happened in her past. I think in this world, this group of assassins would be like wiping all their memory out and to respect all the orders. So it would be quite fun to see this assassin to try to figure out the truth about her past. It does sound intriguing to me, and I mean this book is just a novella. I think if you wanna smash your Goodreads reading goal, this one is perfect. And I think I will put this one to my TBR. And then we have A Song to Drown Rivers by Anne Nian. I did come across with this book before from the newsletter of Fairy Loot when they announced they're gonna do a special edition of this book. And I think this one is gonna be a fun one to me because it is an Asian-inspired fantasy. In this book, we're gonna follow our main character called Si Shi, who was like the 4th most beautiful woman in ancient China. Obviously, with this title, she is so beautiful and she's gonna use it as a tool in like the court of political games. I roughly know about this part of history. It is around the Warring States period in China. And I am curious how Anne Nian gonna turn this into a fantasy book. But scrolling down the comments on Goodreads, it made me hesitate because people are saying the fantasy elements or even the romance is a bit on the convenient side or those elements are not as strong. So do let me know if you have read this one. I am kind of interested in it, so I want to know your comment about it. The next one is also an Asian-inspired fantasy called The Fox Wife by Yang Zichu. again and again.
I haven't read this book yet.
And I feel like, why do I miss out so many good books this year? This one is set in Manchuria in the year of 1908. This book is mainly about a folktale of fox, which is like a mythical creatures that can turn into either beautiful woman or beautiful man and suck the tea out of normal people. In here, we're gonna follow a detective who's gonna investigate this series of murders, but this detective is interested in this kind of tale, the tale about the fox. And then we also got a family that recently recruited a new beautiful servant, so this servant could be a fox too. This one sounds interesting to me because who doesn't love some like detective story? And this book actually published just before Valentine's Day. Is it to remind people that your other half could be a fox too and they're gonna suck out your tea? I think I will put this one to my TBR because it is an Asian-inspired fantasy with some mystery element, which is totally my thing. Why did I miss this one out? I don't understand. Finally, one that I have read, and it is Voyage of the Dam by Frances White. I still got this book on my shelf. It's like down in that corner, which is from Goodreads. This one is like published very early in this year. I think I read this one in February, and it is Goodreads GSFF January book, which feels to me very long time ago. It is a mystery fantasy about a group of young heirs embark a voyage to a sacred mountain for a celebration. But no one would expect there would be a series of murders committed on this ship. Fish, our main character, would play a detective, but he got a secret. He got no special power, which is so common for all the other heirs. So he has to hide this secret while he is investigating these murders and at the same time confront his past and fear. There would be romance, there would be betrayal, there would be reviews that gonna shock you, and I ended up giving it 4 stars. I enjoyed this journey. Fish, our main character, is very funny. He got this kind of really wicked sense of humor. I think it is like a British humor. And there are just so many things happen on this journey. One thing that could be improved is the process of collecting evidence. I think the investigation process itself is on the convenient side. All of a sudden, every one of these heirs, under this kind of threat of murders, are so willing to open up about their past, about their trauma. But still, overall, this book is fun and heartwarming, and I did enjoy this one. The next one, I read it and I didn't enjoy it at all, and it is 5 Broken Blades by Mike Collin. For a more detailed review about this book, rather than repeating myself, I have just recently talked about this book in my hype book video. I have covered everything I want to talk about that book in that video. False marketing, poor writing, poor romance, poor plot. Everything is just like meh. So I do apologize if you enjoyed this book, but this one is just not for me. And the next one is The Blackbird Oracle by Deborah Harkness. It is the 5th book of the All Souls series. I haven't read any book from this series yet, so I don't think I can really comment on it. And I think this one is leaning on the paranormal side. Then I look up the review about this book. Some people are really happy about it because they are back to their favorite world, but some might complain about this book being so different from the rest. Let's say the character feels a bit off to them, or maybe there are just not too much going on in this book. So if you have read this book or you are familiar with this series, do let me know how you feel about it. The next one is a shorter one, When Among Crows by Veronica Ruth. This is about Demeter, who is a knight that gonna slay monsters, and then we also have Allah, who was cursed unless she found a cure. So Demeter asks Allah to help him to find the legendary witch, and in return he will help her to find a cure for this curse. I think this is another perfect book for you to smash your reading goal, or you feeling a bit in a reading slump, and I think this one can help you to get out of it, because from all the reviews that I have read on Goodreads, this one sounds really fun and entertaining. It is a polished myth retelling that is set in modern Chicago. At the same time, there will be discussion about different social issues. This one is not too long and sounds decent. I think I will read this short book when I need to pick up my reading momentum. Now we have something more familiar. Be Familiar by Lee Bardugo. And I hope you don't find this tag too cheesy. It is a Spanish-inspired historical fantasy which follows a family story. Lucia is our main character who can access magic, and later this talent is discovered by the military, and they hope that this talent can help the Spanish to win over the English. But Lucia has to hide the secret because she is a Jewish. Without doubt, Lee Bardugo is such a well-known author, but I just haven't read anything by her yet, which is such a shame. I think she is known for her writing and the character work, which is something that I do like. This one will also be a good starting point for me because I am a sucker for historical fantasy. This one sounds like the right one for me. Finally, I have something that I have read. It is the Book of Doors by Gareth Brown. I also have a copy of this book somewhere around here, and I got it once again from Goodreads. It is a low fantasy that is set in New York. Our main character, Casey, got a magical book from one of her loyal customers in a cafe. This book will allow her to open a door and be anywhere anytime she wants. This powerful magical book can easily catch the attention of the wrong individuals. Luckily, Casey met Durham, a guy who wanna protect all these magical books. So they have to locate all these books and retrieve them from dangerous individuals. What I didn't expect of this book is the time traveling element. With this magical book, Casey can go anywhere anytime she desires. She can travel back to 20 years ago or maybe jump into the future. But don't worry, the writing is really accessible and you won't be too confused by the time traveling. Or even, in a sense, we know what the final outcome gonna be, but we just don't know how our characters will get to that point. So you will be kind of curious to dig out what is going to happen to them. I love how this tiny dot's gonna be connected, or the questions we have along the way will get an answer by the end of the book. Also, the process to retrieve all these magical books are dangerous and full of actions and thrillers. Compared to The Voyage of the Damned, I might vote for this one because I enjoyed this one more. Now back to books I haven't read yet. We have a new release, An Academy for Liars by Alexis Henderson. This is a dark academia book which is a genre I don't really read much. The only one that I have finished is Babel by R.F. Kuang. This is the only one. But this one is about Lennon, who got this special power of persuasion. So she got an invitation to study in the Drayton College. With her study, she understands more about her power and makes some new friends, but at the same time, she's getting more suspicious about this college. Now, I haven't read this one yet, so I can't really comment on it, but I am curious about the rating of this book. Out of all the books that I have talked about so far, majority of them can easily be 4 stars or 1 or 2, maybe like 3.9. But this one only got 3.59 stars, which to be fair, I find it quite low to get nominated. If you have read this one already, do let me know why is it the case, why this book got such a low rating. I don't think I will read it because it is a dark academia, so I do need your answer for it. And then I have another book that I have already read, which is The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. Like 5 Broken Blades, I have just recently talked about it in my hype video. If you want a more in-depth review about it, you may go and check that one out. In short, it is a fantasy detective story. I do like all the questions we have along this detective investigation process will finally get an answer by the end of the book. I love how the story expands and the writing is approachable. So if I need to vote, I am actually torn between The Tainted Cup or The Book of Doors. It is so hard for me to choose. Next, I have A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher. This is a dark retelling of the Brothers Grimm's Goose Girl. Cordelia grew up with a very strict mom who also happened to be a sorcerer. One day, a murder happened in their village. Cordelia and her mom fled and met a very wealthy older man. Her mom wanted to wed this old man, but Cordelia had a bad feeling about it. At the same time, this wealthy older man got a sister called Hester, who finds out that Cordelia seems to be abused by her mother, so she wants help. This one sounds really dark already, and this is a shorter book which I may read one day. The next one is the final book that I have read out of all the books in this list, and it is The Night Ends with Fire by K.X. Sung. This is like a retelling of Mulan, meeting with some elements of Romance of the Three Kingdoms, which is like a classic military novel in China. Like Mulan, our main character, Mei Lin, dressed up like a man to join the army. Along with her is a jade left by her long-dead mother. But turns out this jade can allow Mei Lin to connect to the spiritual realm. What Mei Lin didn't expect is that she will be thrown into these political games between the three kingdoms, let alone she needs to keep her secret. She is a woman. I wouldn't say I hate it, but I wouldn't say I like it. This book works for me because it borrows so many tropes from other successful stories, let's say The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang and also Mulan itself. If you borrow so many successful elements from other books, how can it be bad? You know what I mean? This is also a question I had when I finished the book. Where is the originality? And then we have Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Lands by Heather Fawcett. It is also a sequel to another very popular book, which is Encyclopedia of Fairies. I haven't read this book yet, but all I can remember about this series is that on the cover,
there are lots of mushrooms.
It is like if you need to play a game and guess the book cover, this is the clue. What I know about this series is about how cozy it is, but I haven't read anything from this series yet, so I think I will pass it. The next one is also a sequel, which is Empire of the Damned by J. Christoph, the second book of Empire of the Vampires series. What a name, so hard to say. I do plan on reading this series because I have heard a lot of positive reviews about it. It is a story, of course, about the vampires, but it is going to be dark, and the story itself is quite solid, but it is not your cliche vampire story. But the thing is, I tried to pick the first book up in a bookshop, and then it is a paperback, and I open it, and the words are just like so tiny, and I mean that book is thick too. I guess I need to clear off quite a lot of books on my TBR first before jumping into this series. This one is going to be long. Talking about my TBR, this one is on it, and it is The Bright Sword by Lev Grossman. I have this book right on this shelf, and I think it is blue in color. I'm not sure, can you see it? This one is like a retelling of King Arthur and his round table, but this one will be set in a more modern setting. I found this premise quite interesting. Quite a lot of people enjoy this modern take of like a very classic legend about King Arthur, and the story is really immersive. There will be discussion about queerness, mental illness, religion, and of course, immigration, which is quite uncommon to find in a fantasy book. So honestly, I can't wait to pick this one up. It is on my winter TBR. Then I have A Sweet Sting of Salt by Rose Sutherland. It is a retelling of the Sulky Wife, which is like a Scottish folklore. Jean is like a midwife in a village. One night she hears someone is crying, find out that there is a woman in neighbor outside her door. So she tried to find out who this woman is or even who is her husband. When Jean finds her husband, the demeanor of this woman changed. Curious Jean want to find out what is actually going on. This one again sounds a bit on the darker side with some sort of mystery elements. There will also be some unexpected romance. I am not sure where the fantasy element will play in this story, so I think this book is not for me. The next one is The Lost Story by Max Sheffer. This one is also a retelling of a very well-known story, which is Chronicles of Narnia. Basically, it is about two boys who got lost in a forest, but then 6 months later, they came out but didn't really explain what had happened in there. When they grew up, one of these boys still suffered from trauma because of this disappearance. And then the other one became an investigator, and now he is working on a missing case of a girl who also vanished in the same forest. So these two boys now grew up, of course, and they have to work together, find out where is this missing girl and confront about the past, and also all the secrets will be revealed. This one is like the last book I have just talked about with some sort of mystery element, but the setup of this one sounds more interesting, and I haven't really heard about this story before, but now I really want to read it. The last nominee I have is The Warm Hands Ghost by Catherine Arden. This one is a historical novel and written by the same author of the Bear of the Nintendo series. It is set in the 1920s, in which we follow Laura, who feels a bit suspicious about the death of her brother, Freddie. So she traveled to Belgium to work in a hospital to see if there's any news about him. But before all of this happened, Freddie got injured in the war and he didn't want to return to the battlefield. With the help of a mysterious man, he simply disappeared. This one again sounds really dark, and I guess from the perspective of these siblings, we can piece together what is actually going on. I have read some reviews about this book. Mainly, it is about don't care too much about the ending but enjoy the process. Just by looking at the synopsis, I think there will be some discussion about PTSD from war. I am not sure will I like it or not. So here are all the nominees for the Goodreads Choice Awards 2024, the fantasy category. After going through every single one of them, my TBR did get a bit longer. There are some interesting books that I have just missed out. If you ask me which one will I vote, I guess it will be between the Tainted Cup or the Book of Doors. I just haven't decided yet. And how about you? What do you feel about this list? Which one will you vote for, or does this list miss out any good books? Talking about missing books, I am questioning where is the Silver Blood Promise by James Logan? I think it is a new release for this year. I have just checked, this one is a new release of this year in April, and I did enjoy it. Again, I have talked about this book in my hype video, so if you want my thoughts about it, you can go check that video out. I just can't believe this book, The Silver Blood Promise, is not on this list because I love it, and people love it too. Is there any criteria to get nominated? So if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like. If you don't want to miss any content from me, make sure you have subscribed to my channel. I'll see you all real soon. Goodbye!